All right, everyone, here we are with ticker symbol Nndm, Nano Dimensions. And before we jump into this chart, I want to say welcome to all the first-time viewers and investors. Welcome to the channel, Invest for Tomorrow. To all the subscribers, welcome back. And as we jump into this chart, I do want every single investor to stay tuned till the end because I have a new ticker symbol to share with you guys that you won't want to miss and you definitely want to keep on your watch list and radar moving forward. So much potential. And it has a niche within the EV sector. And within that niche, it has the most market share out of other competitors and companies. So very interesting stuff. I definitely recommend staying tuned till the end to kind of see what the potential, what the chart is showing, and how you can go ahead and do some further due diligence to see all the great news and stuff moving forward and potential for this company. So let's talk about Nndm, and we'll talk more about that towards the end of the video, but I want everyone to be aware. So, Nano Dimensions, for the first time, ARK Invest either reallocated some of its shares or it bought some in one ETF and it actually sold some in another ETF. So, this is the first time we see this in the whole entire trajectory of following Nano Dimensions, right? In the last probably 6-7 months that we've been following this, and since I started doing officially the videos of looking at it directly and looking at the ETFs and how it's been going, we've been watching since October-ish, November-ish, right? Like to the T. And every single day they bought. There was one day it looked like they didn't bought, and what they did was, instead of showing that they bought, what they did was reallocate some of their shares into the second ETF when they started it with ARK W, right? They've always had it in ARK Q, and then with ARK W, they transferred it, and we caught on to it. It was the same exact amount of shares. Well, today, I have a huge discrepancy here, and it's looking like some shares have been sold. So far, it's a very small amount compared to their position. So, Nano Dimensions has been in a downward trend. I definitely recommend watching this carefully moving forward. We have some new resistance levels and supports, and our support is the lowest point reached in this downward trajectory. Now, the stock has been very volatile on the way down. It hasn't been a sharp down, but it fights to go up and then it just falls down. It fights to go up and it goes down, and it's doing this type of effect. We've been seeing it do that. So it hits new highs and then newer lows every time, and it just continues in that direction. Now, a lot of investors are excited for the near future and exiting now because they're really bullish on this one. So they're like, hey, let me just take the unrealized profits and turn them into realized profits of what I'm seeing right now. And I'm just kind of saying the thought process of a lot of investors right now, especially for people that are trying to understand Nano Dimensions or just got in it recently or are thinking of it, and also just doing research and want to understand what's going on with Nano Dimensions. My personal opinion, based off of what I'm seeing, a lot of investors are like, hey, let me just take some profits now. They might leave a few shares because they got them at a price probably way lower, right? Way back here or anywhere around here, way lower than this can even reach, even if it was to go in a bearish trajectory all the way down to back to $10, $9, $8, $7. There's a lot of investors that have gone in around $6, $5, $4, $3, right? So Nano Dimensions, even if it pulls down, that's where it's exciting for investors, because if they do this dilution or more shares, and then they can start doing offerings in the future, that's what they're setting themselves up for. Then Nano Dimensions is going to create that same history effect that, yes, offerings kept happening, but look what happened. Offerings kept happening, and then look what happened. It just kept going up, right? And it's going to allow institutional investors to get the stake at a good price before it goes, higher, and so forth. So could there be an opportunity out of this? Probably, but in the short term, it's pulling it down. And we hope that it pulls itself back up after this is over and the vote is taken care of. Well, the vote is in the next few weeks. I think it's going to be around the third week here of February, where we'll know if that's going to happen. Now, we will see some offering appear probably soon after that, or weeks after that, or according to how the SEC will allow Nano Dimensions to do an offering. But what I've wanted to watch this whole time is ARK Invest. And ARK Invest is loading up on one side and on the other side shaving down. And very interesting enough, they bought at this peak, which has always been the boldest statement that I've seen from ARK Invest, basically saying, just like how they saw room down here and they bought at all these peaks right here, they saw beyond these points. Beyond these points. So if they bought at this peak, they see beyond this point. The only thing is, I never thought that ARK Invest would shave down some of their position so near to this downward trend. I thought that they would be taking advantage of it, loading up, preparing for the days, months, and weeks to come. So let's see here our new resistance and support in just a moment, but I want us to look at the charts. So there's a lot of charts here we gotta look at. So I want to go back to the 28th. The 28th, it went from 4,132,798 shares onto the 29th to 4,168,001 shares. And then from there, it jumped to 4,233,365. So when you really do the math, from the 28th to obviously today, it's only gone 100,000 shares up. So I was like, okay, there could be some reallocating, like they've done this in the past, and that's what's going on. But when I did the math, it's not adding up here. So we have Nano Dimensions here with 7,063,981 shares. And then on the 29th, right, the next day, that was the 28th. Let's go ahead and go back to the 28th. You see, that's the 28th. The 29th, nothing changed. 7,063,981 shares. Now, the market value changed, but the amount of shares didn't change. But now we come to the first. And this is where I was caught by surprise. I was like, oh, man. So Nano Dimensions on this ETF is RQ. This is the one we've always watched. This is the one we've always said it keeps going up, keeps going up. It hasn't stopped. And it went down from the 7 million to 6,806,597. I don't know what this means to any of you guys. I think it's just rebalancing as long as this stays above like 5 million shares. Now, to me, it seems like good news that it's been rising over here. It's risen 100,000 shares, but it doesn't add up the math to the 200 that aren't here. And it's actually a little bit more. It's like 250,000 that are missing here. So Nano Dimensions has been shaved off a little bit on RQ. So no longer will I say big news, ARK Invest just bought more. Because for the first time they've sold. And now we need to watch if they're reallocating, if they're selling, or if they're buying. Now it's getting trickier for all of us as investors. I'm sure they're going to load up if there's going to be more offerings and stuff, but we want to see how they're acting now. So for those of you that are shaving off your positions, ARK Invest is doing it as well. So I don't see anything wrong with it, but they're holding a position too because they're seeing the long term. They just want to take, I guess, some profits, or they're reallocating some of that money into other stocks, which is completely respectable and understandable from their perspectives and their goals, but I found it interesting. So RQ shaved off a little bit, and it was more than 200,000, but ARKW has gone up, right, from the 28th all the way till now by basically 100,000 shares. So there's 250,000 almost on the other ETF missing, and 100's been added here. So even if 100 has been put over here or not, there's still 150 that's gone. So they have sold. Now they've added more here. Now, I don't think what they did was reallocate. They just sold over there and they've bought more shares here as this is going down, because this has a different average price than the other one. So on the other one, they're profiting more per share than on this one. Remember, this is a brand new addition to their shareholdings of ARKW, and they've been taking it really slow at making this one grow. So I want to see how they're reacting here moving forward and how they're going to continue to react with ARKQ. Very interesting stuff. I look forward to seeing how you guys feel about this and what this means to you. And are you guys excited of the pullbacks that are about to happen or continue to happen, or if this consolidates? And are you looking forward to more offerings? I would love to hear every investor's sentiment on that moving forward, especially that they sent out the email and they want to let everyone know. I would like to hear how you guys feel about Nano Dimension's plans and how it will affect the chart. So, Nndm. Our support level is down here currently, and this is the lowest point reached in this bearish run, and that's 297. I want every single investor to be aware of this. This, if it gets broken through, we could be on our way down to newer lows, newer support levels, and getting deeper into bearish territory. Very important to watch and see how the stock is doing. The 50-day moving average is 1407. We're currently at 1372. So yes, we are in bearish territory, and breaking through support just means we're getting deeper into bearish territory, and we need to watch it closely. Now, for the bulls to gain some momentum and work their way up, yes, they need to break through 1407, but most importantly, the highest point before this dip, and that is 1440. They need to break through 1440, turn it into a support, pull away from it, reach newer highs and new resistance levels, and build some momentum, pulling away from the 50-day moving average. As always, if you found this video helpful and informative, please do so and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to turn on all notifications and not miss a single video that I post. Share this with your friends and community, and don't forget to hit the like button to let me know you watched this video. Stay tuned till the end, because I have a new ticker symbol you won't want to miss, and you definitely want to add it to your watch list. So for everyone that has stayed to this point, the ticker symbol I'm about to share with you guys is definitely one you want to do more research on and you want to watch carefully. Now, it's in the EV sector and it focuses on a specific niche, and I've been watching it for a few days, and an article came out on Friday that gave me even more of a confirmation why this one's going to have potential in the long term. I'm not too quite sure how we need to play it out in the short term, because it is kind of hyperinflated in a little bit, and it was going downwards and it just bounced back up, and I definitely want to recommend to every single investor, watch it carefully. So the ticker symbol is ACTC, ArcLight Clean Transition Corp. So here we are with how it reacted when the merger was announced. It went from $12 all the way up to $31. It started to pull back, and this pullback was looking healthy. Now it bounced right back up, and this could be the overall market reaction, because the whole market had a slight jump, and it jumped $4, almost $3 and some change, $4 from the lows here. So right now it's sitting at 26.29, and I definitely recommend watching it if it breaks through 2050 and also 2015, right? 2215, excuse me. Those are the 2 points of support levels to watch carefully moving forward, and we want to see if this continues to pull downwards after this slight jump, or does it consolidate up here, and is it creating the anticipation leading towards the merger? Now, after the merger is something to watch as well. I've seen a lot of these mergers happen so far, and they actually start to have pullbacks as well afterwards. But in the long term, this is definitely a stock to keep in mind and watch carefully, because they have a large market share who ACTC is going to merge with. Let's see this article here. So this is the article that came out on Friday. Yesterday I was going to do videos, and I actually was going to do videos on Friday. I've had a few hiccups, and I apologize for that to every single viewer and investor, but I'm glad that I'm still able to proceed with this information, and it's still one to definitely watch and keep in mind. So when I saw this article from Investors Place, the heading was why investors should pass on ArcLight for now. The key words here to me that stand out is should pass for now. And that's fine. You want to add it to your watch list though, and you want to keep an eye on it and see how it's reacting, because this sector has potential. And this is who they're merging with, Proterra. ARK has agreed to merge with Proterra. Well, now that they have agreed to do that, who you should do more research on is Proterra. Now, from what I've seen, they've been around for over 10 years, and they have a large market share in the niche that they do. And what do? They are an electric bus maker. Now, if you guys have seen Arrival and how things are happening in Europe, I could see Proterra being the one in the US market. That's the one in Europe market, Arrival. I could see Proterra being the one in the US market. I'm not sure if Arrival will arrive into the US market. For as long as it doesn't, Proterra has an upward, hand on this one. So over the long term, it basically says Proterra should do very well. That's a good sign. Now it talks about, the pandemic and so forth, why it's not recommended to buy ACTC anytime soon. Now, ARK has agreed to merge with Proterra. So when they say this anytime soon, but they say over the long term, it should do very well, and then I see should pass for now, it makes sense that this is the time to watch it. You really want to keep it on your radar and see how it moves. And now we have time to do due diligence as investors and research to know more about Proterra. So if anybody knows more than me or anything else, or wants to share any articles, or even this article, if you find it, you can post a link down below in the comments so that other investors are aware. But I would definitely start with this one, because just the beginning kind of throws you, the good and the bad. And then as you continue to read, it talks about the good and the bad, and all of a sudden the good outweighs the bad, because it tells you all the great things of Proterra and who they are and how they're working and what they plan on doing moving forward. Now, why do I see potential in this stock moving forward? And I'm not here to tell you guys to buy, sell, or hold any position in it, but I am here to enlighten you guys on adding this to your radar and keeping a close eye on it. Well, right now we are in the pre-merger, hype and stuff, and after the merger things might cool down again, and we need to see how far down it cools down, and also what's the anticipation leading into the merger. Now, why is this a great one? Well, the fact is that electric bus makers have a lot of potential just based off of the school system. Think about that nationwide. And then public transportation system. Think about that nationwide. There's enough to go around there for them to go ahead and make these buses and receive a lot of purchases and orders over time. So I look forward to how things continue to move, and especially with legislation being passed and going greener, and EV becoming more of a norm rather than a luxury or taboo, it's going to change everything about the whole sector. And the fact that this focuses on a niche within the EV sector, which is electric bus makers, and this is one of them, and they have a large market share in that niche, I could see a lot of potential for this one. So definitely want to add to your watch list. ACTC, it's going to merge with Proterra. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, let's make some money.